Yo, what to do, y'all? It's your boy No Name. Let's get right into it. So, it's finally time. It's finally time to talk about Necropolis League because I think this is a great league. This league does a lot of things that I've wanted to see done for a long time. Not even necessarily in the like, oh, I've been wanting this feature for so long. I didn't even know some of the things that came out of this league that I wanted, but I wanted them so bad now that I know what they are. You know what I mean? You ever have that feeling? This league awoke that for me. This is one of my favorite leagues we've played in a while, and I want to like share that joy with you guys. I've actually wanted to talk about this for quite some time, but the league has gone through so many changes that I wanted to make sure that the dust was settled, as well as just generally I needed time to formulate my opinion from playing with the league more itself rather than like interacting with the way that trade forces me to interact with it, etc. And so some of my thoughts are trade centric, some of them are non-trade centric, but you'll find overall it is really just about the league mechanic itself. I'm not going to be talking too much about the state of trade or the state of it. It's really about like how the league mechanic feels. That's what I'm here to talk about. Before I get into that, if you like these type of videos, liking a video lets me know that you want to see more, and it just kind of helps me out, right? And if you want to see more of what I do here on the channel, subscribe. That way you can see more of what we're doing here. Additionally, sound off in the comments, right? If you have thoughts about this mechanic, like make sure you sound off in the comments because I want to read through them. I want to be able to reflect on everybody's thoughts about this league, because it's fun to see how people receive different parts of the mechanic, right? All right. Step one. Let's talk about the lantern first. Lantern of Airmore is a fantastic feature that has a couple pretty meaningful flaws, but overall I think turned out to be a very meaningful contributor to how good this league feels to me. The ability to replace monsters in a map, chef's kiss. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Being able to select reward types, get that weird splashing of rewards is pretty nice. I will say it's a little like power creepy in that regard. I've always said this since the introduction of Legion, even that it feels bad if a different mechanic is the best way to get something else's rewards. So this is particularly talking about how like why did Legion splinters from the Legion ones interact with emblematic, so I just don't actually have to open Legion monoliths if I want to do Legion stuff. Stuff like that is a little concerning to me from a design perspective, but the design hangups for me and end there really it returns in regards to the all flames, because the actual like meat of the mechanic feels so much better there. You just get to get some cool rewards, stuff like 2120 gems and large amounts of chaos and all sorts of stuff. That system feels fantastic. Couple things that probably should have been addressed. I think haunted modifiers are a little interesting in terms of their strength difference. Most of them equate to about one mod on a magic monster, and I think that's fine. But I have two mods in mind that really stick out to me as things that shouldn't exist. Maybe a third, but definitely this first two. Always stun. Fuck you, GGG. Get that shit out the game. Seriously. That's just not fun. It's not even about like, oh, it's difficult, it's over team. No. It's just not fun. Please remember that this is a game. We like to have fun. Being permanently stunned is not fun. Two is definitely going to be plus flat chance to evade attack hits. That shit going to 90 is absurd. Like trying to attack a pack and getting 5% chance to hit that pack is unbelievably toxic. Get that shit out the game. And three, because of a build I played personally, I have to name it immune to curses. Stop giving things curse immunity when you have skills in the game that rely on cursing them to even do damage. Like, at least I only played Hex Blast, and so I lose the clear speed, but at least the skill is legally able to do damage. But when I play Impending Doom later this league, that mod is literally unplayable because I can't curse them to rip the curse off. If you're going to make things like do things to curses, please make it unaffected by or make it hexproof. Stop with this immune to curses bullshit. Next, devoted modifiers. I think they got a little too nerf happy with the way that the divine fishing thing went. I like it doesn't feel good that I never really got to see it after the fact. Like it's been multiple weeks of playing since then. I have not really seen that much of it. Is what it is, I guess. But I don't. It does not make me happy, right? Like it is what it is. Does not mean I'm happy with what it is though. Divines and like scarabs and whatnot. Like a lot of those conversion ones or additional drop ones just got like fucking hammed out the game. Don't like that. Is what it is though. Like I can live with it, but I just want you to know I'm not too happy about that. But I am happy with a lot of the other devoted modifiers. The ability to print unbelievable amounts of makings, chaos, falls, etc. per map. Even like Zalt's just felt fantastic. I have a funny screenshot of me pulling over 300 makings from a map, and that was like one of the first times I was like playing around with it. I was like, holy shit, that is awesome. That's sustained my makings. I'm still riding off of that, right? Like I mean, I've obviously gained more makings since then, but like I haven't gone below 250 since that happened because it's just like, wow, I have so many makings now. That felt fantastic. Let's talk things that are in the morgue now. Let's talk corpses. Let's talk the morgue. Let's talk crafting. I'm not looking forward to talking about this, you guys. This is the section that made me delay this take the longest. It wasn't just because I was waiting on like patches to stop and whatnot, because I didn't want to talk about crafting. But if I'm doing a holistic review of the league, I have to talk about it, right? You guys deserve to hear my thoughts on the crafting, especially now that I've played with it from a non-trade perspective. I feel like I owe it to you guys to give a real opinion on it. And it's two parts. I think late game, end game crafting, that shit should never return to the game again. I had a pretty harsh take on this back in Harvest when we had the item printer then. And the core of the issues is the same. But somehow Necropolis has made it worse. Because at least in Harvest, I felt like the work made sense. You like were crafting the item. When I think about the story of Harvest crafted perfect items, it resembles, a blacksmith repeatedly forging the sword, really like pouring out the iron and beating it with the mallet or whatever that's called, and then you dip it in the ice, and then you go, okay, I gotta reshape this piece here. I gotta shape the hilt right, and you put it all together, and it comes out to this perfect thing. You know what Necropolis is? Is you just threw everything into a fucking melting pot, and you were like, well, this is pretty likely to cut out a perfect item. Shaboing, and then you end up with a perfect item. Like it somehow it managed to take item perfection and make it even less interesting. Like I didn't think it was possible for perfect items to become even lamer to see than Harvest did. But not only do I see perfect items everywhere now, I see unjourneyed perfect items. That's not good. Like we have to keep the sense of progression in there. Like progression is core to RPGs in general, right? Like ARPGs are a type of RPG, you guys. We need that progression. That's why so many of us like actually play on League Start and then have fun with all the new stuff and then leave. It's because at that point the progression's done for us, right? Like progression is what makes the game feel good, and the item crafting from the morgue lost that. That's not crafting, that's printing. Fuck, bring back, like if you're gonna do some shit like this, just bring back Old Harvest at that point. I'll put up my swords about Old Harvest if you're gonna do shit like this. I'd rather see Old Harvest. Especially because like this is also just a headache to interact with. The like optimization of the map regarding the chances is annoying. The placing of everything in the goddamn field is annoying. Having to walk around that entire fucking area to put all of the corpses in, L, massive L. Actually, massive L. There you go. Like it's weird because this is my right hand, but like L, L, two L's, two L's, way too many L's from that shitty ass mechanic. Having to walk around and place all the corpses does not feel good. Like we have tools like Necropolis have PoE and whatnot, or like Sudos' graveyard help as well. I think there's one more that like has one as well. There's a lot of tools that like have that top down view to make the planning easier. Why isn't that top down view just in the game? Why did no one think of that part of the UI UX experience in game? Because that would have made that so much better to interact with. Corpse limit at 64 is also criminally low. Like when they increased it from 30 something to 64, I was like, huh, okay, maybe this will be reasonable. And then I thought to see how many corpses I could generate in a map, and I was like, this is unreasonable as shit. This still isn't enough. So pretty harshly rated there. But I have one set of positive takes about the crafting. Probably didn't expect that, right? I actually have positive things to say about the crafting. Here's my thoughts. The progression crafting feels good. Being able to choose bases felt fantastic. Going like into yellows and being like, I need an amethyst ring so I can fix my chaos res. bang. Even if the ring itself didn't come out perfect, just being able to get that base real quick, huge for me. Man, I need a new heavy belt. Bang. That felt good. I need a 5 link. Bang. That felt fantastic. We've been saying for a long time in the community that the Act 10 reward that gives you the 4 link body armor is not sufficient for the current game state. And it's not, quite frankly. One of the biggest things that I noticed is how much power you actually gain out of that 5th link. And that 5th link would make so many more skills viable in progression if that were a normalized part of the progression experience. If it were normal for you to get a 5th link in progression, you would feel so much better playing so many other skills. And this league finally gave it to us as a consistent thing. And I'm gonna make another video talk about this at some point in whole, because I want this to be a concentrated thought that we can like sound boost to GGG. But just know that I'm very passionate about what this 5th link has done for the game, and it has to stay in some way, shape, or form. Like I said, there's just things about the mechanic, like the early and mid game of it feels fantastic. Being able to force corruptions on the unique items from it feels great. Or as a Hex Blast player, I could force a curse implicit onto a pair of gloves. Even if the gloves come out shitty, the fact that it's forced to corrupt into, a curse potentially, or not forced, but very likely, it's also really cool. Like there's a lot of really cool stuff in that unperfect item printer area. But the power creep between perfected items and multi-fractured items and fractured influence items is too ridiculous and has to go. Like that was way too over the top. One last thought. I have to talk about the Atlas tree part. This is just a steaming indictment on the league. Personally, I think the fact that they put the mechanic on the tree was a big backfire. Because if you're a player who's at all interested in interacting with the mechanic in any way, shape, or form, whether it be because the corpses are mad profitable in trade, same for the all flames, there's some really good ones out there for that too, or you're a non-trade player who just simply actually wants to corpse craft or wants to play with all flames in their maps and whatnot, you can't skip out on the nodes on the tree. The bottom left section of the tree has felt entirely mandatory the entire time I've played the league. That's not a good feeling. The bottom right node feels mandatory if you need corpses created. That doesn't feel too good either. The top left, gotta take that if you want all flames. The only section of the tree that's not mandatory is top right, and that's because sometimes you don't want things that fall into those 3 categories. Sometimes you just want like increased chance of gem modifiers, and that actually doesn't fall into any of those categories. But otherwise, 3 of the 4 nodes feel borderline mandatory. That's not it, Chief. That's not it. And it leads me to, I thought, if this is going to be a trend going forward, where we have the new mechanic on the Atlas tree, 1, please don't do that shit. But 2, if you're gonna do it, it needs to be things that modify the rewards themselves or modifies the way you interact with the mechanic. So, for example, I'm fine with the top right part of the tree existing. It makes sense that the top right part existed because it's saying it doesn't change how many corpses you get. It just changes which corpse you see. That's fine, or like, talking about the bottom left section, the ability to turn up or down the haunted modifiers would be really cool if it wasn't also attached to the loot of the mechanic. Like, I'd like to not get wrecked by haunted modifiers, please. And you also would not like to drop any corpses, I guess. Like, that doesn't feel good. That, like, if we're going to have it be current mechanics, it has to be only things that tweak feel. It cannot tweak reward level. And that's kind of a problem because I feel like this mechanic should, like, new mechanics deserve to feel good on their own merits. It should not compete with the rest of the game that's already been tested out and whatnot and figured out. The point is to have us actually play with the mechanic. But I'm not going to dig too deep into that because I think that kind of laid out that thought process, and it gets a bit more finicky as we go from there. And it probably deserves a whole other thing about how I feel about the Atlas tree right now, having played a little bit longer into the league. I talked about it previously in a different video, talking about how nuts these changes were to the Atlas tree, and they are incredibly fantastic. But the context of playing around with Necropolis definitely, it adds some interesting constraints to that. And that's where I'm going to leave that thought. Anyways, overall, big fan of the league. Big fan of the league. I've actually had a fucking blast between the league mechanic itself actually just feeling good to map with, the fact that there was actually meaningful crafting changes as well in this patch. Genuinely, I believe it's the first time this has happened since Synthesis League where I felt like mapping and like killing monsters gameplay got a meaningful change at the same time that crafting got a meaningful change. And now maybe you disagree with the method of doing one or both of the things, but the fact that both got a change simultaneously is just big because we usually only get one or the other. It's either your looting got buffed or your crafting got buffed. It's very rare that we get a both type of league. And so I hope that they keep giving us both type of leagues and whatnot. I just think that's a good feeling. I hope the Lantern of Aramor goes core in some way. I hope the 5 links from the campaign go core, right? Like, there's a lot of things that I think about this league were just so good feeling that I'm willing to overlook the negative impact of having these Gia items be just super free to create and things that are so overpowered that Standard is yet again going to complain about the way that the league gets to power creep their shit. But, is what it is. If you like this video, thank you for watching. Make sure you like it. Sound off in the comments. Let me know you guys' thought on the league. If you want to see more of what I do here, hit that subscribe button. If you want to see me live on Twitch, which is an occasional thing, it's usually only really like event related, right? Like, oh, an event's coming up that I'm about to do, might stream it, or the league start, I'm going to stream that, for example. If you want to tune into that, the link is going to be in the description. You can follow and find out when I am live. Or you can hop in the Discord, which will ping you, but it's also where I'm actually active at. I'm in there. I'm talking a lot. If you want to just chat away, if you want to chat with the people that I chat with, or, see what's going on in the space, find a place to talk to some people about the game. That's what the Discord's for. Link to that will be in the description down below. Anyways, I've got to get back to blasting. Well, really, I got to get ready for prep because there's an event starting today, but that's also all blasting. So I got to go. Take care. Thank you guys for watching. See you at the next one. Peace.